Well, tonight's shave will be a quick one. Got some stuff to do early in the morning. Stirling Boar brush. It's on sale right now for like $8 on their website. I took advantage of that a few weeks ago, and maybe this is my fourth use of it. And I've had it soaking for a few hours. That's what I've been doing to my boars lately. I think I like that. Kind of as a break-in. And the razor for today. Game Changer by Razorock. This is the, what do they call this handle? Radio knob handle. And then you can tell which, this is the 84. You can tell which head it is. The early 84s did not have this flat inset right there, but the second batch kind of did, and so they're easy and quick to tell from the 68s, I think. So you can just even look at the side, and if you see that little inset there, you know it's not the milder one. The milder one for me was just so mild it was useless. But this one strikes a nice balance. Looking forward to getting back into it. And that's how it's configured. I'm going to take the feather blade that I'm going to be using today, just lay it across those two posts. Gently put that on. It can pivot out of the way, you know, the blade, but don't worry about it quite yet. Let's get the handle on there. And then slowly start to squeeze and watch it, and usually it just works itself out just fine. So it's a very slim head. It clamps down on the blade very close to the edge, and so that gives a smoothness and a consistency that I enjoy. Today this feather has had 13 uses, so this is number 14. I am choosing this soap probably when I ordered that Stirling brush I just showed you. They sent me this free sample from Stirling Gatlinburg, and it's in my sample drawer, and it's just such a big bag that I just decided let's use it, try it, get it out of the way. So as with samples, if you wanted to, depending on what kind of person you are, if you just want to press that into the bottom of just any kind of loading bowl, and then you would, just like a tub, you might load on it for 30 seconds or something, and then move on to a lathering bowl, or move on to your face. But I like to kind of keep my samples around, and so I am going to use my 1/4 teaspoon measure, and I'm just going to use this much, and I'm going to save this. If I like it, I'll put it in my good pile. If I don't like it, I'll put it in my bad pile. And those I can pass on to other shavers, or better yet, I'm going to revisit many of them to see if maybe I change my mind about things. I know there are a few soaps that I've done that with. This one's kind of medium soft. It's not super hard. Just going to press it down in the bottom of the bowl. And this is pretty much how you have to do these samples, even the ones that come in those tiny plastic tubs, because I mean they're just too tiny for you to get your brush in there. All right, so I have smeared that 1/4 teaspoon all around the bottom of this bowl. This is a custom bowl, 3D printed bowl from a computer printer, and it's very cool. Designed by my friend of mine named Roger. I'll put a link down in the write-up to the files if you happen to have a 3D printer and want to print one yourself. Definitely get the woods. We'll see what else we get as it gets wet. Stirling's a great soap. Their base is wonderful, very slick. It's a good economical soap because it doesn't cost too much. For a lot of the vendors, they'll give you 3 ounces of soap, maybe 4 ounces of soap for more of a cost. Then Stirling will give you almost 6 ounces of soap. Good people behind the company as well. All right, I'll splash my face with some water. And I think I'm picking up on some kind of a smoky vibe, a burned vibe. Something like that. I really need to see how it comes out. All right, so this feather's ready to go. And the boar is ready to go. It's still new. So if we get a few hairs, then that'll be okay. And so I'm gonna, this is a little too dry for me. So what I'm gonna do is start my water here, and I'm just gonna put in about a teaspoon of water on top of everything in there. Just kind of slowly start mixing, because I know I'm gonna need to add that water anyway. Nice. Now that it kind of has started to equalize, we can start adding more water. Pretty sure I'm going to need the whole 2 teaspoons. So I went ahead and just added it right away. And we're going to refill it. There was a scent Stirling had called Ozark Mountain. I had the Balm on that one. One of those things where I bought about 10 different things at one time in a box, you know, and I got some other things I didn't want or didn't specifically want. And sometimes that's a great way to find and experiment and discover new things, but that was just mainly a conifer scent, a fir scent, and that, I don't like that. This one, oh, now something else is coming out now that it's getting wet. It's a lighter, it's a less that burned wood scent is kind of taking a back seat, it seems. Been to Gatlinburg a couple times. Nice place to visit. I think there were some forest fires or something there maybe a couple years ago. When I went, it was before that. Sevierville down there too. Cool mountain area. Rent a mountain cabin, you know, for a couple days and enjoy the weather and the scenery and stuff. Lather's looking good. It's on its way. You can just keep adding water. And there's this neat, I think it's southwest of Gatlinburg area. There's a neat national park. What happened was up in the mountains, this valley formed, and these people lived in that valley, and it was just this picturesque mountains on both ends and farmland in the middle. Really neat. Some of the wooden houses are still in place, the community church, that sort of thing. Really neat historical park now. You can, it's got a road around the perimeter of it. It takes a while to get to it because it's mountainous. A lot of zigzag roads and all that. But you take this circular road around it to view a lot of the nature things, pass by a lot of the old houses and stuff, so you can stop if you want to visit any of them. Really cool, to me at least. And but the good part about it is, there's a pretty decent chance you're going to see some deer, other wildlife. Pretty cool. So Stirling is a really good soap. So I have put 4 teaspoons of water in there. I'm going to refill it again. It's a thirsty soap. This little shape of this handle, it's short and stubby. It's thick though. But because of that handle, even though it's slick resin or whatever material, I can still hold on to it even though it's all soapy, just because of that shape. It's a nice design. And I believe we might be ready to go with this lather. And it looks a little, still a little on the thick side. Let's dispel a little bit of the oils on my skin here with this extra that's on my fingers. And let's add a little bit more. And we're getting close. And this, ladies and gentlemen, right there is a brush rest. Pretty cool, huh? Very nice design. All right, I think we're ready to roll with this lather. See how this brush feels. It wasn't all that soft last couple times I've used it. So I'm interested to see how that goes. All right, now I'm going to rinse off my face. So I really like woodsy scents. Declaration Grooming Darkfall, just crazy good to me. But I don't like a lot of the fir and spruce type smells, pine. And so as long as there's other components to it, I'm gonna maybe like it. Oh, this is more comfortable than it was before. Very nice. Still a little bit scrubby. A fair amount of backbone at this point. Soaked it for a few hours right before this shave. Gonna try to help it break in. And this could definitely give me some brush burn if I were shaving with a more aggressive razor. I don't think that's going to happen today, but it might. It's a pretty dense little brush, actually. It can hold a good bit of water. I think sometimes I'll mix stuff up and some water will be released from the knot and kind of rinse out my lather. All right. Use number 14 on the feather. Very comfortable, no tugging, no pulling. Cutting nicely. I kind of feel it cutting in a sense, but I don't really feel the edge per se. So that makes it pretty comfortable. Now down on my neck here, I do usually feel the edge a little bit more. It's more sensitive skin. Just holding the razor very lightly so that it has a chance to move if I don't hit something at the right angle. I don't want leverage. I want it to flex and bend and move instead of pushing more into my skin. All right, excellent first pass. Going to rinse it off. All right, loaded my brush back up. Yeah, I like this scent, I think. It's definitely woodsy, but there's a little kind of almost like a burned wood or burned leaves aspect to it that I really enjoy. Like I needed another, I've already got like 8 Stirling soaps, you know? Like I needed another one to put on my list. They're just really good. Yeah, I like it. Don't really know what's coming in there that I wasn't picking up when it was dry. But it's nice. It's not offensive. It's definitely contributing to the whole scent, the woodsy, you know, type scent. So I like it. Scent strength is maybe 4 or 5 out of 10. I'd say a solid 5. Which for me is really nice. It's kind of where I want it to be. Able to be enjoyed during the shave, but not overpowering. Nice slickness I'm getting. And since this feather blade is on its 14th use, it's not quite as edgy as it was in the beginning. Smoothed out a little bit, but still really, really sharp. But it's sharp in a more controlled way, more consistent way, and more comfortable and smooth. So it's a really good combination for people with my skin and hair type in this razor. Doing great, no irritation, and rinse. Now this particular lather is really hydrated. It's really slick. Some might call it too thin. I wouldn't. It's not quite as creamy as Stirling usually is, just because it's so hydrated. So this is a lather that maybe straight razor users especially would want to try to achieve. And so since it's kind of on the wet side of my spectrum, I went ahead and just kind of rinsed after my rinse, I dabbed my face kind of dry, and that way it kind of offset the extra wetness in the soap, I'll probably get a more creamy pass now. Yeah, it looks really good. And that's just slick. Yep. And look, probably about the right economy there. A pass, maybe 2, if I had to do it, is remaining. I like to have a little extra in case I botch a pass or something like that. And 3rd pass. Very nice. So I laughed when I used the Game Changer 68 for the first time because it had this monumental name. It just didn't live up to it at all. So mild. It was like a sarcastic name. Like, hey, this razor's so mild, you can't get a good blade to give yourself a good shave, so let's call it something amazing and big, you know? Like some kind of practical joke. But I think the aspect that they were focusing on with the name was the fact that for about $50, you can get a stainless steel razor that's machined at a pretty good level of quality. I'm really happy with that. It's an attractive razor, and all stainless steel, lasts you a few lifetimes, and performs really well, at least this version of it. This more aggressive gap, the 85 or 84, whatever it is. All right, rinse. Well, my nose is not good enough to figure out what else is in there other than the woody notes and the maybe resinous notes. Maybe a little bit of amber. But so this is a nice, slick Stirling Lather. Back off a little bit on the water, and you can have slick and creamy as well. And so, really happy with this, and looking forward to this brush softening up a little bit more. But it performed very well. I don't believe I got any brush burn, so we're good there. I'm going to do a little cleanup, and I'm going to fish out one of the Stirling Balms that I have. I don't have the matching one, but I got something good. Some of the tips are splitting, but it's doing so a little bit slower than like my Simode brushes that I'm bringing up at the same time as this guy. And I don't mind that. It just might take a little bit longer to where he gets to a comfortable state. He's not super comfortable right now. Still very scrubby. But I like him. I'm really glad I got him. And at $8, kind of can't beat that. And I think I like the density. I like the amount of hairs we have. It'll keep expanding as it breaks in. And I think that'll work out really well. Really happy with this little guy. If you have an early boar brush, maybe 30 or 20 uses young, you may have to go back to the puck before each pass even. If you're a face latherer, sometimes even if you're a bowl latherer, because they are just so stiff and they take a while to break in. But just be aware of that and know that it gets better. All right. How much water did we use this time? I started out with a drier brush than I usually do, and so that's why my water measurement here is a little higher than usual. So 5 1/4 teaspoons of water for this mix, and this was kind of a wet mix. I wouldn't want to go any wetter than this, so but it's still very slick, excellent slickness on with the razor. Really happy with that. And I'll clean up. For the balm today, we'll go with one of my favorites, Sharp Dressed Man. It's inspired by the Creed or Green Irish Tweed. I think that's a Creed fragrance. And I did sprinkle just a little bit of water on my face to to help the help me use a little bit less balm and help it to spread around real easy. Nice scent. Classic. Cary Grant, I believe, or Green Irish Tweed. Pretty wild. Somebody his level, you know, and age. All right. So that 1/4 teaspoon amount is perfect amount for this shave. Gave me the right amount of lather, a little bit extra. If I wanted to do a touch up on my neck, would have been no problem at all. But I just didn't feel like doing it tonight. And wow, that's a really good result. And you know why I got that result? It's because of that last pass. My hair grows this way, and I started up this way a little bit, and I turned, had a little bit. It was mainly a 90-degree cross grain stroke, but it had a little bit of against the grain aspect to it. Not enough to generate irritation and razor burn and maybe a cut, which is often happens with me if I go ATG. But enough to get those tricky hairs in this my nasty spot that is so problematic. So we'll just put our gear over here on the side and clean it up in a little while. You don't have to do like I do, but I switch blades and razors all the time, and so I disassemble after each shave. If you're going to use the same blade each time, just leave it in the razor. Maybe just unscrew it just a little bit so there can be a little bit of airflow, and then you'll be fine. You can just leave the blade in the razor. Sometimes that's safer because then you're not dealing with it and that sort of thing. So how do I feel about that scent? I think I like it. Don't know if it's enough to have me go ahead and buy it as a tub because I have too many soaps as it is. But I think it's the only one from Stirling that I've gotten that is a woodsy scent that I really enjoy. There's a little bit of a dankness aspect to it, especially before you actually start lathering it. But I kind of already have a Darkfall by Declaration Grooming, and I really like that one. That one's a better version of this, kind of in the same family, if you will. But I'm really glad that Stirling made this. I think it's a good soap, and I think the name is pretty set. That's a good area of the country. The woods are just gorgeous, and so I think that's a good one. Interesting how it changes from dry to wet. You lose some of the dankness, you lose a little bit of the burned wood scent, and something kind of green and green comes in, something in the middle there. All right, we're in good shape. I think this Sharp Dressed Man works really well with the small remnants of the Gatlinburg that are still hanging around my face. Really enjoyable. So, you know, if I was just starting out and I wanted a forest scent, especially if cost was important, I might get Gatlinburg instead of something like Darkfall, because you get a lot more for your money with the Stirling. You get 5.8 ounces approximately instead of 4, so that's a pretty cool feature. Wonderful shave today, nice close result, no irritation. This feather is just in a really sweet spot, and I like this razor. It is a nice halfway point between comfort and close cutting efficiency, just right in the middle there, and I think that's a really sweet place to be, a great balance. It's got elements of smoothness, but still cuts really well. So I'm really happy with this one. Super disappointed in the mild version, just too mild, and for me at least. If you are somebody who happens to like that 68, try to find one now, because I believe they're discontinued, and it must have been quite a number of people who kind of had the same experience I did. However, faces are different, and you know, there are definitely people out there who that particular razor might be right on target for what they need. But for me, this is a keeper. It's a good solid razor. If I just had 50 bucks to spend, I'd probably go for some Fatipes, but this would definitely be on my list of razors to think about if I didn't have a whole lot of money to spend, but I wanted a lifetime razor. Something else on my list might be a vintage Gillette, like a Fat Boy. It would be on there too. I have a small red spot right here, but that's very typical for me. It doesn't feel irritated at all. And we're good. Excellent. All right. The razor did great. I told you about how I'm really happy with where the feather is right now. This brush, it's coming along a little softer each day. Still very scrubby, and but it'll get there. You know, you just have to train boars, and that's the way it is. And then the soap, really happy with that. Really happy with that scent. It's not one that I would have just went ahead and ordered, and so I'm glad they sent it to me. It was fun to try, and I'm definitely going to put that in my to keep and try again some other time bucket. All right, this is Sugar Daddy Shaves. I hope there was something here for you that helped you out. Take care. Good night.